Witchlings and Princelings, and welcome to your first coven summoning. My name is Ilsa.
And my name is Stacy.
And we are Caffeine and Conjuring.
We're a fantasy bookish podcast where we'll be discussing some of our favorite fantasy reads.
Starting off for season 1, we wanted to do a series that was very popular with the bookish community, and also very popular in my household as well.
And it's highly anticipated by me. This is my first time reading Throne of Glass, but Ilsa, you've read this before.
I have.
And how do you feel about that?
I'm so excited. I have been on you for ages to read all of the SJMS universe. That got me back into reading after years of a hiatus. Mm-hmm. So I'm very excited.
I'm going pretty good though. I mean, this is going to be the third now, the big.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. Do you want to tell our listeners, possibly two of them, who we are? I'm Stacy. I co-host another podcast with my sister, my sister's TBR, and we got this idea when we started talking about Throne of Glass for our book club that we could do this podcast together. So I'm really excited because I've started all of the SJM universe, the ACOTAR and the Crescent City, which I haven't finished yet, but getting there. And thought, why not record Throne of Glass? Why not record it so we can get all of our thoughts and our feelings just out in the world? I started reading when I was very little, when Harry Potter first released. That is what really kickstarted my love of reading, fantasy, bringing us into my teenage years where I went into Divergent, The Hunger Games, just your real classic YA fantasy of the early to mid 2000s. And now I just read fan fiction smut, basically, of those books. So that might be a little insight into my twisted brain. What about you, Ilsa?
So, my name is Ilsa. And much like Stacy, my love for reading started with Harry Potter. Our grade 3 teacher bought us the first Harry Potter book when it was released. And that's aging us, but that's okay. And I've loved reading ever since, but after high school, I kind of fell off the reading train and didn't pick up anything else until I picked up ACOTAR on a road trip to Ontario with my family.
Oh, so you started back again with ACOTAR.
Yeah.
That's what... Okay.
So Sarah J. Maas and ACOTAR specifically has become my entire personality, and that's a bit of an understatement. I run a blog channel called The Court of Damsels and Dragons, and that's where I write reviews for mostly fantasy romance genres, but I do dabble out into some other genres as well. And yeah.
No doubt our discussions here might end up leading into other books that we're reading too. I think 100%. That there's no doubt that we're going to leak some other bookish talk into our Throne of Glass.
So beware of some minor spoilers from other books, but in terms of Throne of Glass, we're trying to keep it as spoiler free as possible up to read the chapters that we say that we're going to discuss. Anything past that, please don't comment about in the discussions.
This is all new to me, so if I get spoilers in comments, I'm going to cry. Don't make me cry.
And that's going to be one of the hardest things for me, having these podcast sessions with you, because I am terrified that I'm going to drop big spoiler bombs, and I really don't want to do that.
Yeah, and I'm afraid that I'm going to start talking about things that I think is foreshadowing to certain things or my thoughts on where things are going. And if I see it in your face...
My face has subtitles. If she says something, and even if it doesn't even necessarily need to be spot on, I'm going to make a face, and you're going to think something of it. It's just
I'm gonna read into it. There's no doubt about it. So I'm very intrigued to see how that is going to play out for us.
Yeah.
We will
Hopefully
see.
Nothing gets spoiled. Especially the big stuff.
Yes. I've managed to stay pretty spoiler free so far for Throne of Glass. I know a couple names have been familiar. I know I have come across them, but as for big spoilers, I've managed to keep it all pretty well
She does know the phrase, so Lorcan did.
Yes.
She has no context, but she does know the phrase. And
I've seen it everywhere.
Cannot wait for you to get to that. But that is about a year in the future if we're sticking to our schedule.
Oh, God. It's so far away. Yeah, it's been everywhere since, like, people got all up in arms about it. It's just every bookish community that I'm in has been, so what did he do?
Sarah, if you somehow are watching this, please write us a bonus chapter of
goals.
what Lorcan did. Please, for the love of God.
So our structure for this podcast is we're planning on finishing Throne of Glass in 1 month, and we're doing this in weekly episodes. We'll be uploading new episodes every Tuesday. God forbid anything happens that we have to delay, but every Tuesday, that is our schedule, our goal. We'll be covering so many chapters, and we will definitely be sure to let you guys know ahead of time, whether it's on our Instagram or even just on our podcast episodes, of what to read up to for the next episode, so that we're not spoiling anything for you. Just keep an eye on all that. So Throne of Glass is going to take 4 weeks. That is our goal for Throne of Glass. We will see how that goes. If we get overwhelmed and I start crying because it's so much, then we'll have to adjust. But right now, Throne of Glass is definitely going to be in 4 episodes, especially for the book club.
Yeah. If we stick to the kind of schedule that we thought out, and if everything works out the way it's going to, season 1 will last about a year. Mm-hmm. That's about how it worked out too. So it's going to be an exciting year.
It is. I'm very excited.
So a lot of the things we're going to be talking about, we're going to be obviously deep diving into Throne of Glass. We're kind of going to go kind of chapter to chapter about what happens, our thoughts on it. We might do some comparisons to other books. We're definitely going to be talking about theories and fan theories, and my brain is always swimming with them because I spend way too many hours scrolling TikTok and diving into the lore of the mass worlds. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a fun time.
Definitely keep an eye on our Instagram for questions, polls, challenges, things like that, because we do want that interactive element with the podcast. We want to feel like you're as much a part of this podcast as we are, and to be answering questions and theorizing things.
Absolutely. We want to hear from you guys. Even if you just want to leave a comment and say, hey, listen to your podcast. We want to hear it.
We love that. Yeah. We want to know who's listening.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. I said 2 listeners.
Speaking of that, moms, we're sorry. We're very sorry.
Nothing can be worse than the manacled episode. So
probably not. Not in the Sarah J. Maas universe. If we ever branch out in other stuff, maybe.
Oh, Crescent City.
Still.
I think I will get feral with Crescent City.
Fair, Court of Mist and Fury.
Yes. We are rated explicit. Well, just put that in there right now.
Yes.
So if you have littles, or if you're in an area where it's a little sensitive, maybe don't have us on blast. Because we might curse.
Yeah, I've known to have a little bit of a potty mouth, even if I don't normally swear in front of my parents. So
I bring it out. I'm the bad influence. So why Throne of Glass? Like, why do we want to do Throne of Glass?
Well, we talked about definitely doing something SJM related. Mm-hmm. We were focused on ACOTAR there for a while, but I think it definitely got pushed more, like, not only because our book club, cover to cover,
plug,
chose Throne of Glass for this month's read. You haven't read it yet, and you have read Crescent City and ACOTAR, and can't wait to talk about those. But it's interesting to go through this process with something you haven't read.
Yes, 100%.
And I've only read it once. It is a big series. I've already come across some things reading through the chapters that there's foreshadowing, there's stuff that I missed, there's names that I missed, there's moments where I'm like, how did I not notice this? So it's going to be real interesting to see how much more of that there is as I read these.
I can't wait to start theorizing, like just going bonkers with these theories that I have in my head, and to know what your internal thought is on it, because some of this might be so totally blind because you might think like, oh my God, I am literally doing this with an idiot. So I'm really curious to see like how at the end of this year, going back, how we feel about this first episode. Maybe we should tell them how we're going to be reading, because there's so many different like reading orders for Throne of Glass.
Yes. Very controversial topic.
We're here to rustle feathers.
So for Throne of Glass, there's 2 main reading orders that people tend to follow. I do believe there are a couple other ones, but they're not as popular. But the 2 controversial ones, there's The Assassin's Blade. Wasn't written first, but it is a prequel in terms of timeline in the books. It is 5 short stories, and it does talk more into detail about certain characters that you do meet along the way. So a lot of people like to read that first, so it just goes in order. The other way is what we're doing, which is reading Assassin's Blade 3rd. And it's called The Romantic Order, I do believe. Yeah. That's what they named it. And it kind of gives you a flashback and a lull in the story, so it doesn't feel too out of place. Personally speaking, if I read Assassin's Blade first, I probably would have DNF'd the series, because the main character is much younger and much more attitude, and I just didn't enjoy her in that book. So I feel like this was my favorite way, and I asked you I'd do it either way for the reread.
Yeah.
And you were pretty...
Yeah, I think I would still prefer to do it this way, the romantic order. Yeah. Because I have read that people say that it's more impactful when you read it after.
I feel like it's going to be equally impactful either way, personally. I don't think I missed out on anything reading it where I did. And if I'm being honest, I didn't read it till the end, because that's how it was in my box set. I didn't realize at the time that it was a prequel. So I read it at the end, but I still really enjoyed it. And I can't see me wanting to read it at the beginning. And where they have the cut in the story to put it for the romantic order is a good place to put it. There is that natural lull in the story, and it's good.
The way that our episodes are going to work, our reading schedule, our episode 1 is going to cover chapters 1 to 14. Our episode 2 will be chapters 15 to 28. Episode 3 will be chapters 29 to 42. And then episode 4 will be chapters 43 to 55. That one might be a big episode, I think, if we're covering all those, and then also like
doing a final recap.
Yeah, so that one might be a bit hefty, but you love us, so it's okay.
And at the beginning of every episode, we're going to have a warning. These are the chapters that were read. If you haven't read up to these, please go back and read them before you listen to the episode, because there will be spoilers based on what we read.
Yeah.
Major spoilers. All the spoilers.
Lots.
Yeah. So, going a little bit further into the future, we discuss how, like, this is season 1, Throne of Glass. We do want to do a season 2 or 3 with Akhtar, Crescent City, and maybe then branch out into some non-SJM related books. Maybe bring in some other favorite fantasy series.
Oh yeah, like Fourth Wing. We could do
From Blood and Ash.
The
Guild series.
Oh my god, there's so many. Twilight.
Oh, that would be so fun to pick apart.
It would be. Edward is watching us right now with straight face. So every Tuesday, don't forget to check out your favorite podcast app, whether it's Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and find us on Instagram at Caffeine and Conjuring.
And be sure to check out our personal pages as well. Oh, yeah. You can find Stacy for her other podcast at My Sister's TBR, and you can find me for my blog channel at Acodad. ACODAD.
Acodaddy.
And be sure, if you check out our other pages and our Caffeine and Conjuring page, leave reviews, leave a comment, interact with us. We love to hear from you guys.
And don't forget to share our podcast with your friends and your family. And with that, our first coven summoning comes to a close. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
And follow Caffeine and Conjuring on Instagram to stay up to date with our journey through Throne of Glass.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Where heroes rise and villains fall.